This episode contains discussions of suicide and depression. Listen at your own discretion. It is Saturday, the 20th of July, 2024. My name is Pigeon Rose, and this is my song of the day. Today we're talking about a song by a band who I knew about pretty early on into my listening to music because my brother was into them and they would be on TV a lot, but I didn't properly get to listen to until years and years later. But even then, this specific song I always knew. I mean, it's their best known song, their signature song of sorts, and I knew the song very well because it was played on Kerrang and Scuzz and Q and all that all the time. And that song is Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden. Now I'm going to preface this up front because I am probably going to spend a lot of this episode talking about the lead singer of Soundgarden, Chris Cornell's unfortunate and untimely suicide. It's hard to believe that it was 7 years ago now. I'm specifically doing the song today because today would have been his 60th birthday, which is crazy to think about. So I'm probably going to get quite emotional in this one. The song isn't about his depression or anything like that. It's quite an unrelated song, but it's a song I wanted to talk about, and I figured I would do it today for that reason. I'm just going to end up talking about it anyway because it's always going to be talked about. It's just something that happened and we'll hang over it, But before we get there, we can enjoy this very good song. Now, while I personally enjoy the music video, I would understand why other people wouldn't, because it's full of weird distorted faces and shit, and I know certain people have problems with that kind of thing, so I wouldn't recommend the video to everyone. Just be aware of that. And also bright flashing lights and stuff. But anyway, however you want to consume it, we're going to listen to the song now and then come back in a few minutes and talk about it. I don't like to throw around the word epic, partially because I know what it actually means. But that song feels epic to me in the sense that it feels big. There's something about, how hard the drumming is, but also specifically the riff, the do-do-do-do-do-do-do. That just has such weight to it. The way it's performed, it's so good. I really love how the song sounds. So let's start this off with a quote from Chris Cornell talking about how he wrote this song. He said, "I wrote it in my head driving home from Bear Creek Studio in Woodinville, 35 to 40 minute drive from Seattle. It sparked from something a news anchor said on TV, and I heard wrong. I heard blah blah blah, Black Hole Sun, blah blah blah. I thought that would make an amazing song title, but what would it sound like? It all came together, pretty much the whole arrangement, including the guitar solo that's played beneath the riff. I spent a lot of time spinning those melodies in my head so I wouldn't forget them. I got home and whistled it into a dictaphone. The next day I brought it into the real world, assigning a couple of key changes in the verse to make the melodies more interesting. Then I wrote the lyrics and that was similar, a stream of consciousness based on the feeling I got from the chorus and title." So the lyrics of this song are not particularly deep and meaningful. He just heard the phrase Black Hole Sun and the whole thing just kind of poured out of him. And I think that's evident because when I was younger, I always thought the lyrics were so strange and maybe I wasn't hearing them properly, and then I would look them up and be like, oh, they are just weird. But it makes sense that he just kind of wrote them based on vibes. But there's still some interesting things to be found there, I'm going to read another few quotes here before I delve into the lyrics. Regarding the song's lyrics, Cornell stated, "It's just sort of a surreal dreamscape, a weird play with the title kind of song." He also said that lyrically, it's probably the closest to me just playing with words for word's sake of anything I've written. I guess it worked for a lot of people who heard it, but I have no idea how you'd begin to take that one literally. In another interview, he elaborated further, stating, "It's funny because hits are usually sort of congruent, sort of an identifiable lyric idea, and that song pretty much had none. The chorus lyric is kind of beautiful and easy to remember. Other than that, I sure didn't have any understanding of it after I wrote it. I was just sucked in by the music and I was painting a picture with the lyrics. There was no real idea to get across. No one seems to get this, but Black Hole Sun is sad, but because the melody is really pretty, everyone thinks it's almost chipper, which is ridiculous." So yeah, I find this really interesting. First of all, I never thought the song was happy, but maybe in a nihilistic way, but yeah, it's just interesting how it was intentionally written to just kind of not make any sense. It was just based on vibes, and you do certainly get a certain vibe from it, but reading the lyrics, yeah, it just kind of fits the rhythm, "In my eyes, indisposed, in disguises no one knows, hides the face, lies the snake in the sun in my disgrace. Boiling heat, summer stench, neath the black the sky looks dead, call my name through the cream and I'll hear you scream again. Black hole sun, won't you come and wash away the rain? Black hole sun, won't you come, won't you come, won't you come?" I like what he said about how the chorus is kind of beautiful, but the rest of it doesn't really make any sense. And I do really like this idea of black hole sun, won't you come and wash away the rain? It feels like begging for a big change in your life, or even begging for the end of the world, you know what I mean? It also kind of makes you think of In the Glass by OK Go. I should do that on here. It's a great song, but it's every day is the same. We're praying for rain, and when it finally came, every day was the same. Still praying for rain. It makes me think of that. There's a few references to the snake, which makes me think, say, Lucifer in the Garden of Eden, you know. Boiling heat, summer stench specifically always pops into my head when it's really hot outside. And currently, it's really hot outside. I'm recording this with my shirt off. So, boiling heat, summer stench, I feel what you mean, Chris. So then the second verse is, stuttering, cold and damp, steal the warm wind, tired friend. Times are gone for honest men and sometimes far too long for snakes. In my shoes, a walking sleep, and my youth I pray to keep. Heaven send hell away. No one sings like you anymore. This is where we get into it because, like I said, Chris Cornell unfortunately took his own life in 2017. It's one of those really unfortunate, I mean, it's unfortunate when anyone kills himself, but it's one of those things where, like, he was such a unique musician, and he wasn't old, he was 53, like, or I think it was just before his 53rd birthday? Yeah, he was 52. But, like, he was such a unique talent, not just in songwriting and guitar playing and stuff, but also his voice is so particular, so specific. I mean, if you ever want an example of that, go listen to his cover of Billie Jean by Michael Jackson, because, you know, you're used to the original being Billie Jean's not my lover, and he's doing it as this slow sort of ballad. He's going, Billie Jean's not my lover. He has like such a very specific, it's so emblematic of grunge is what his voice is, you know, and it's really cool and has this very specific, like, you couldn't hear a Chris Cornell song and mistake him for anyone else, you know. Even other grunge musicians who have a similar kind of voice, like Eddie Vedder, it still sounds different, you know, because you can actually hear what the fuck Chris Cornell's saying. He certainly doesn't sound like the guy from Creed. You know, that's always the thing that stands out, whether you're listening to his solo stuff or with Soundgarden or with Audioslave, which is another band he was in. After Rage Against the Machine broke up, there was a band called Audioslave where it was everyone from Rage Against the Machine except for Zach De La Rocha, who's the singer / rapper, with Chris Cornell on vocals instead, and they're so fucking good as well. He also did the theme song for the James Bond movie Casino Royale, the good one in 2005, with Daniel Craig. My favorite Bond theme. It's called You Know My Name. It's great. You should listen to it. But all of this is to say that he has a very unique, recognizable voice. And so this lyric at the end here, no one sings like you anymore, has kind of become a thing that a lot of fans have related to Chris himself. Even when it comes in this song where the lyrics are kind of weird and don't really make much sense, but just having a little no one sings like you anymore, you'll find it in the comments of a lot of videos with him in them, or that mention him, and it's certainly what I think all the time. Actually, it's the name of I have a playlist that's like Audioslave, Soundgarden, Chris Cornell, and it's called No One Sings Like You Anymore. There you go. And then we get the chorus again. It just repeats it twice, and then you have the post-chorus of repeating the won't you come, and the background you hear black hole sun, black hole sun. And then there's the guitar solo, and the guitar solo is so fucking good because you have that riff that I mentioned earlier, the do 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 do, kind of dominating it a bit because it's quite low, but then you have the guitar solo going on over it. So good. And it goes on for so many bars, because like when you do like a guitar solo or any kind of solo, the other musicians in the group tend to either stop playing or just play something quite simple to keep going, just kind of keep the beat going while the solo is going crazy. So to have this repeating riff in here, but have it be such a distinct riff as that, is a really interesting move, and it kind of makes you pay attention to both. I didn't comment actually on the I really like the sound of that. Kind of makes me think a little bit of, even though it doesn't sound like it, it just makes me think of Come As You Are for some reason by Nirvana. Maybe just because it's contemporary, so it has kind of a similar sound. But then, yeah, hang my head, drown my fear, till you all just disappear, and you get a great drum fill, like. But anyway, back to the chorus. Then it just repeats the chorus and the post-chorus over and over again till the end of the song. Now, the other thing about that riff is that I've mentioned before that I used to watch a lot of music television, in particular Q, Kerrang, and Scuzz. Now, I think this was on Kerrang, but there was a show that was Chris Cornell talking about like his top 20 music videos. And it was just like, it would have like a little thing of him talking for like a minute, and then it would play the video. And I remember distinctly that he included two of his own. One of them was this, and the other one was Cochise by Audioslave, which I definitely need to talk about. It's such a good fucking song. Before and after every ad break, like before I showed the ads, it would come up and say like Kerrang, Chris Cornell's top 20 songs, and you would hear the do 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 do. ending of the song every time. And so that's drilled into my head because there was like, what, 7, 8 ad breaks during the whole thing. So you heard it a lot. And then, of course, the song itself was in the program, so it's drilled into me. The music video I mentioned earlier, real weird, very much like a dreamscape. Also feels like apocalyptic. You have the band playing and you have a bunch of people in like a colorful suburbia, and their faces keep distorting so that they're smiling and their eyes are open really wide. It's very strange, but it does make it feel like almost a revolutionary song in the sense that it seems like a commentary on like people being complacent and being entertained by the TV and not actually doing anything, and then they get sucked into the black hole sun at the end. It very much feels like sort of that kind of thing. So when you take that into account, you have the black hole sun, won't you come and wash away the rain? It feels like a cleansing. It feels like society needs to fix something about itself. You know what I mean? I think that's pretty much everything I have to say about the song itself. I did want to specifically shout out, because obviously I've mentioned Chris Cornell a few times, but I wanted to mention the other members of the band, Kim Thale, Matt Cameron, and Ben Shepherd, because like I said, the song is so well constructed and I love every bit of it, and I wanted to just specifically mention them because they're all great. They all do a great job in this song. The band broke up after Chris's death. They reunited for one final like big tribute concert, of course, in 2019. Yeah, I thought I would have more to say about Chris himself, but I don't know what to really say except for just it makes me really sad, and I miss his presence in music because he had so many different. He was also in a band called Temple of the Dog, which I always forget about because I haven't listened to them yet. Yeah, I mean, just he was involved in so many different projects that I love, and I would have loved to have seen where he would have continued from. Maybe another Audioslave album, maybe another Soundgarden album. I mean, they were still going. They had broken up and then reunited, you know. And I've listened to every Soundgarden album. I've listened to every Audioslave album. They're so good. I need to listen to his solo stuff properly. I only really know his covers. Yeah, just a wonderful talent, and a real shame to have lost him. Unfortunately, tomorrow's episode isn't going to be much happier, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, I guess. I think that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for listening. Please give me a like, hit subscribe, share this episode and others around. Maybe don't start with this episode. Maybe don't start with this one. But yeah, please tell whoever you think would be interested to check me out. And maybe I'll check them back in response. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you tomorrow.
Break it down.
If you ever want an example of that, go listen to his cover of Billie Jane. Billie Jane? He certainly doesn't sound like the guy from Creed. Yo, I just sold some dope to the guy from Creed. That is such a wild reference to make. Am I leaving that in the episode? Probably in the outtakes. No one's gonna get it, but who cares? No one sings like you anymore. Black hole sun, won't you come? Wash away the rain. Black hole sun, won't you come? Won't you come?